the budget passed the second reading since late January of this year. Since then, election matters and other issues have stalled the passage. A few days ago, the Senate President gave an ultimatum for the budget to be passed. But that window has since passed. What exactly is happening? Let me allow you to listen to the Senate President when he gave the ultimatum for the budget to be passed.
We must make sure they submit by the Friday. So let us agree that they will submit by Friday. We will suspend plenary just for a week till the 9th. Because they submit Friday, by Tuesday the 9th, we should be able to reconvene here. And during that week, latest during that week, you should be able to lay a report latest by Thursday of that week. But we should be back here on the 9th to reconvene and hopefully lay the report that week of the 9, 10, and 11, and latest pass this budget by the 16th. I think this is because we have the Easter break coming as well. We don't have that luxury of time. Any committee that does not bring its report by Friday, that then we empower the committee to go with the executive submission. All right, so we all agreed that we'll suspend plenary for another week. We'll reconvene on the 9th on that, and between the 9th and the 11th, the appropriation must lay their report, and we look to passing it by the 16th of April. Yeah. All right.
So by my timing and the calendar, today is the 16th. That has not happened. What the Senate President said has not happened. So it's our duty here at Channels Television to keep pushing and finding out what people in government are doing, especially when it comes to issues like the budget that has to do with the lives of millions of Nigerians. It has to do with the issues of governance. What we are hearing is that some MDAs are not there to defend their budget. What are the lawmakers doing? Let's get perspectives on this one. Joining me from Abuja studio, my panel tonight, first is the President's Special Assistant on National Assembly Matters, Senator Enang, and also beside him is the principal lead at budget to break down the issues and some of the figures for us, Gabriel Okeowo. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on tonight. Let me come to you quickly, Senator Enang. Over and over, we hear it again and again, yet again, why MDAs stall from defending their budget, because now we're hearing that some of the MDAs have not come forward or have not been able to successfully defend their budget, and we understand that in fact, that they will go ahead without their submissions and present the budget and lay the budget in front of the National Assembly without those submissions. What is happening on the executive side? Because the excuse is that some of the delays is coming from the executive point of view.
Thank you very much. I am not aware of any of the ministry, department, or agency that has refused to appear before any of the committees to defend its budget. And in fact, we're working together with the Appropriations Committee, with all the subcommittees, that is all the standing committees, and we relate, my office and myself relate with all the chairmen and the minister, the permanent secretary, the heads of department, the director general, and all of them, and they each and all come and defend their budget. Any of them that does not come, for instance, there's a minister who has something to go, like some of them that went with Mr. President, and the other ones that went for the spring meeting in the U.S. Of the World Bank. We made sure that we arranged with those committees which they had to appear, and they appeared earlier. And any question which they had to answer or arose after the permanent secretaries appeared. In fact, the latest of them was the Minister of Commerce, Trade and Investment, and Industry, Trade and Investment, where the minister was not aware, was away, and the permanent secretary came with the heads of the different departments under the ministry, and they appeared in my presence and with the committee and defended every every submissions on the budget they had. So there is none. As of today, and throughout the weekend, I was working with all the committees that were sitting, because some of them were even sitting and working even on Friday, Saturday, even some of them on Sunday. Anything they needed, they related through my office, and they got any person they needed. So as of today, the 16th, every agency of government that is necessary and ought to appear has appeared. Any of them that has not appeared, perhaps, may be that they do not have anything in addition to say, in addition to what His Excellency Mr. President submitted. But then, even then, any of them that has nothing to add or defend, they still appear as an honor to the committee in fulfillment of the respect and constitutional obligation they owe to the National Assembly. So we don't have a problem.
From the executive point of view, you said there's no problem, though we are hearing contrary views from some of the lawmakers who are working on the budget. But let me ask Gabriel Okeowo, from your own point of view, a fourth month in the year, because we know that they've been talking about regularizing the budget cycle. What are the implications of a delay in the budget passage? Are we in trouble when the budget has been delayed for this long?
Okay, thank you, Sheil. For me, if we have any issue here, I'm going to tell you that the issue we have is the issue of timeliness and not the process. What the budget or the stage the budget is meant to be is where the budget is right now. For me, we are not going to count 4 months from when the president presented the budget to the legislator. We are going to count when exactly did the House started sitting on the budget. And that is barely a month now. And so it is the issue we have on ground is the issue of timeliness. We all know that the first 3 months of 2019 was devoted to the elections, and every politicians were not at their station to work, but they are after seeking either a return to office or canvassing for the party that they represent. So it's what we need to fix from the part of the executive, from the part of the parliament, is to ensure that our budget budget preparation process go back to what it should be. Nothing stops us until today, really. Nothing stops us from having a budget cycle that runs from January to December.
But Mr. Okeowo, the consequence, because we're talking in the point of view of an average Nigerian who do not have access to the National Assembly or to the State House, but one way or the other, their lives are going to be impacted by the delay in this budget. Quickly, before we go on this break, in the implication, is there any implication on the lives of an average Nigerian on the street?
Of course, there are implications. There are implications to business, there are implications to infrastructure development. And you see, what suffers at the end of the day are those components of the budget that impact on the life of the well-being of Nigerians. Because 2019 have started, the budget has not been passed, but ask me, has salary been paid? Public service salary, are they being paid? Yes, they are being paid. So what is really not being implemented is those aspects of the project that really relates to the common man on the street. If we take 2018 as an example, it was just about the end of Q3 2018 that fund was released for capital projects. And these are the parts, the components of budgets, annual budgets, that citizens are really looking forward to. These are the part components of annual budgets that citizens can really relate to.
Let me pause you for a moment, Mr.
So whether
Okeowo,
the budget is passed,
let me pause you for a moment. We see our Senator Enang. It will be giving us a sense of what the budget and some of the figures, the MTEVs and the figures that are being passed, and we'll break down some of the issues as it concerns an average Nigerian. We'll take a break now. And when we come back, more on the 2019 budget, the delay and the implications on your life as you hold your remote. So stay with us, everyone. Join us again. Thank you so much, everyone. Welcome back to the program. Let's get back to the conversation quickly. I have Senator Enang, President's Advisor on National Assembly Matters, and Gabriel Okeowo, Principal Lead at BudgIT, an organization that are interested in looking into budgets of state and the federal government. So let's get back to the conversation now. We've been looking at the delay in the passage of 2019 budget, the budget that was passed, that was laid by the president in December. But Senator Enang, let me quickly read out what the Deputy Senate President said in last month, in March. And he put the blame right at the doorstep of President Buhari. He said, and I quote, that the constitutional provision for the nation's financial year has been from January to December of each year. He has lamented that President Buhari has always presented the budget before the joint sittings towards the end of December, thereby made it impossible for quick passage. He's blamed the president for the last 4 years that the delay in the passage of budget is the late presentation of the budget.
I think that's not correct, because before you prepare and lay the budget, you have to have the medium-term expenditure framework, which will show you what are the parameters that you will use in preparing the budget. This has always been laid before the legislature, and the legislature will not pass it. And when it gets too late that the legislature has not considered or passed it, then the executive will be forced to prepare and present the budget on the basis of the parameters it has sent to the National Assembly. I'm sure you are aware that the National Assembly considered and concluded the second reading of the 2019 appropriation before it considered and passed the medium-term expenditure framework, and that being so, it is always on the part of the legislature. Again, we've always worked with the legislature to try to lay the budget so that it will be passed at December, so that it will be assented to and it will commence in January. But it has never really worked, because by the time you lay, it takes 3, 4, 5 months to get the budget considered and passed. You know the history of 2016 budget, 2017 budget, 2018 budget, and now the 2019 budget. And President Buhari has always worked and insisted with the legislature that he wants to try to make sure that we return the country to the January to December fiscal year. Now, in the course of it, when it was too tough in 2017, the National Assembly introduced a clause into the budget, the appropriation bill, now the act, that the budget will now last 12 calendar months commencing from the day on which it was assented to by Mr. President. Therefore, this year's budget, I think it was assented to about sometimes in June, 21st, 22nd or so of June, while the budget of 2017 lapsed on the 12th of June or something like that. Now, this is as a result of the ingenious clause that the National Assembly introduced, that at least to make sure that the budget does not just stand implemented for 3, 4, 5 months after being assented to. Again, my colleague Okeowo had said that Nigeria is suffering and Nigerians are suffering because the budget has not been passed and because a few things have not been able to do. I will not say yes, or I will not say yes to that, because as of today, we have the 2017 but the 2018 budget in operation, because the budget is 2017-2018. And while this budget is being considered, the budget of 2018 is still implemented, because it was assented to sometimes in June 2018, and it is to last for 12 calendar months. Therefore, we are still within the period where there is a live, valid, existing, and active budget. And every expenditure on projects, programs, salaries, allowances, and all undertakings of government is being undertaken on the basis of this budget, of the 2017-2018 budget.
So, Senator,
not that it's a justification.
All right. Okay, let me allow Gabriel Okeowo to come in, and perhaps let's talk about some of the figures in the budget. Mr. Okeowo, if you look at the budget, especially the summary of it, 8.8 trillion, that's what the president presented and laid before the National Assembly. Total revenue looking at is 6.97 trillion. But if you look at the MTEF that was passed, almost all the items or the indices were retained. But majorly, what are your fears in this budget, Mr. Okeowo?
Well, the budget, if we want to represent the concern of the common man, the budget has not presented us anything special from what we have had in the recent time. And I say that to mean when we look at the aspect of the budget that is towards human capital development, what is the funding that is going into those sectors? What is the funding that is going into those areas? Some interesting thing, though, about the budget, for example, this year we have a clear case of a budget for subsidy. Right, and before now, what we used to have is its call is under recovery. It was not really appropriated, but when you look at what is going into critical sectors like the health sector, like education sector, compared to other sectors, you see that it's not showing a significant level of commitment of the government to the sectors that impact on the well-being of Nigerians, especially our children, the future, especially the vulnerable, right?
Let me hop in quickly because in about a minute you analyzed and brought forward some things that you call suspicious items, which we will show our viewers right now. You raised flag on some of these suspicious items you said are in the budget. A 201.8 million naira from the Office of the Head of Civil Service, which you raised a red flag on. 196.5 million naira on Economic and Financial Crimes Office, liability for construction, storm water, drainage, and a few other red flag that you raised, you called suspicious item. Quickly, in 30 seconds, talk through some of these things.
So every year, this is a responsibility as an organization we have taken upon ourselves, and that is on the backdrop of the fact that the legislators may not be an expert in this area of deep analysis of budget figures. So we take it upon ourselves, and interestingly, I have the opportunity of meeting with the Senate President sometime last week, and I was able to present to him directly myself these frivolous items that we have identified in the budget. And the idea for that is to raise a pointer to areas that the committees sitting on the budget should be looking into. And we see a lot of, we call them frivolous, we call them suspicious, we see a lot of playing around with words. If you can show some of them, I can make reference to them. We see things like 5 billion to pay electricity bill for government agencies, and yet when you go to the power to the power sector, they will still tell you that.
All right, Mr. Okeowo, because we are out of time, allow Senator Enang to use the next 30 seconds that we have left. It's 30 seconds really, for real. React to some of these issues, some of these items that they've raised red flag on, and some of these frivolous items.
I'm sure this is why we have the ministries, departments, and agencies coming in to make explanations, because some of them are lumped, and when lumped, they have details which are answered, and the answer will satisfy. But I thank the civil society because they sometimes raise most of these things, and when we give explanation, they are satisfied. They also talk about the size of the budget, that it's not much providing for a lot of people in the country. The size of the budget this year doesn't have to be much, because much of it, we are reducing borrowing, and we are increasing on capital spending. Again, we have to provide for salary increase and a lot of other things that are likely, because Mr. President in his address gave the signaled the possibility of on the minimum wage. Okay. And of course, much of the borrowing that we did, we have to start a program of repayment.
Senator.
And then much of the borrowing we did in the first 2
or 3 years. We have to go now, Senator.
Now we are paying them all off, and then we are stabilizing on this budget.
I must sincerely thank you, as always, Senator Enang for always coming through and coming to explain some of these issues. Also, Gabriel Okeowo, Principal Lead at BudgIT, thank you so much for coming on tonight. And that's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Kimbaloe. Bye-bye.